Welcome to the WorkCenter Overview webinar. WorkCenters are one of the exciting new features of Vision 9.2. They bring together all the links and reports and queries that you generally need to accomplish work within any specific module of PeopleSoft. And in this webinar, we'll take a look at how you get to WorkCenters, what WorkCenters include, and how to personalize WorkCenters to include links to things that you might use on a regular basis. When you first log into Vision 9.2, you'll be brought to your home page. On your home page, you'll see a number of tiles. The tiles that you see on your specific home page depends upon the security clearance you have to work in the system. So, for example, if all you have is accounts payable and expenses, you will see two tiles for accounts payable and the expense WorkCenter. The easiest way to get to a WorkCenter is simply by clicking on a tile. We'll go take a look at the General Ledger WorkCenter by doing that. WorkCenter loads. You'll see on the left-hand side there are 4 pagelets or menus. The My Work pagelet, the Links pagelet, and if you click on the Reports Queries tab up top here, you'll see the Queries pagelet and the Reports and Processes pagelet. The other way to get to WorkCenters is to use the navbar menu. If you click on the navbar icon in the upper right-hand screen, and then click on Navigator, you'll see a list of content that you have specific to your security clearance again. Click on General Ledger, and you'll see down in that menu the GL WorkCenter. If you click on that, it'll bring you right back to the General Ledger WorkCenter. There's also one other way to navigate to WorkCenters. You'll notice that within each of the WorkCenters in the Links menu, there is a menu for WorkCenters. Click on the caret to expand it, and you'll see links to all the other WorkCenters in PeopleSoft. In the My Work pagelet, you'll notice that there's a number of links that are active that show there's things to look at underneath that particular header. We'll take a look at the journals with errors. Click on the link, and it brings up in the workspace a list of all the journals with errors that you could take a look at. You'll notice that they list all of the different items here. You can click View All like you can in the current system to look at it. You can also use the refined filter criteria to narrow down the results that you get. So, for example, let's say I only wanted to look at those that were related to business unit 01100. I can click on the refined filter criteria and click on the plus button here. It brings up the list of all of those that you are default set to see. You can hit the clear button, which takes all the check marks off, and we'll search for that particular business unit we want to see. Enter in the business unit, click search. You can click on the select box and then click OK. You'll then have to scroll down in the filter values window and click on the apply button. And if we close that filter values window, you'll now see that the list has been narrowed down to those 2 particular items that apply to business unit 01100. The other items aren't gone. You'll see they're still on the counter. If you want to bring them back, you can just click on the link again, and all the items appear. That filter only applies to that particular instance you do it, and then it clears off when you re-click on the link under the exceptions. You can't customize the My Work pagelet any further. That's been set, but you can customize the other 3. We'll take a look at those and show you how to do that. In the Links pagelet, there's a whole list of menu items here. You can see that if you click on the caret for budget journals, for example, it shows 2 possible selections there: Enter Budget Journals and Manage Budget Journal Approval. If you click on Enter Budget Journals, it'll bring the Enter Budget Journals page in the workspace here. And you can see that you can add a new value or find an existing value. So, as you can see, it works similar to the current system does today. It's just brought up in this workspace instead of a brand new window. You can also customize the links section. If you click on the links pagelet setting icon in the upper right corner of the pagelet, select Personalize, Let's say we want to add a couple of links to this that are things I use but aren't included in the default WorkCenter. To do that, you do need to add a new what's called a link group. You can see as I go through there, there's 11 currently on this pagelet, and you can see they're the same title, the title the same as the upper level menu. You saw that we had to click on the caret to expand. So if I want to add a new links group, I click on the plus sign. I'm going to call this My Links, and I'm going to give it a display order of 13. Since you can see up here there's already 12 in place, that means that it will display last on the pagelet. And I want to start the group collapsed. That means I'll have to click on that caret to expand it and see the specific items I have underneath it. To add a link, I'm going to click on the Define Link or Role link over here. It opens up a Define Link window. In this case, you can add two things. You can add a link to a PeopleSoft page, or you can add a URL to a page outside of the system, and that's what we're going to do first. So I'll click on URL. I'm going to add a link to our commitment control manual. So if you go on our Vision website, open up the commitment control manual, you can copy the URL. I'm going to paste it into the URL ID box here. And I'm going to give it a label of you click OK. And in this case, because it's a PDF document, I want it to open in a new browser window, so I'm going to click that checkbox. So when I click on that link on my links pagelet, it will open in a new browser window, and I'll show you that in a moment. To add another link, we click on the plus button down in the links list section. It opens up a new link line. Click on Define again. In this case, we're going to go find a PeopleSoft page we want to link to, so I'm going to click on Select Menu Item. You'll see it brings up a menu of all the PeopleSoft content in the system. So I'm going to go to General Ledger. Now I'm going to go to Journals. And I'm going to go to Journal Entry. So you can see you can drill down and find the specific page you want. And I'm going to just add a link to Copy Journals just to show you how this works. So it comes back to the Define Link window. I can override the label if I want to call it something else. That activates the label box. I can call it anything I want. But because Copy Journals is pretty descriptive, I won't do that here. I'm going to click on OK. Now see that it shows up as another link item here. I don't want that to open in a new window. I'm happy to have that open up in the workspace as part of the WorkCenter page. In this case, I'm going to set an order of 1 and 2. Notice that I use 10 and 20 instead of 1 and 2. That's a good habit to get into, because let's say a month from now you want to add a third link, but you want it to show up between these two. Having put them in as 10 and 20 gives you the option to add an 11 or 12 or whatever you want to do, so it shows up between the two. With that done, I'm going to click on Save. It brings up a message that says refresh the pagelet to see your changes. Click OK. And I'm going to close this box up in the upper right-hand corner by clicking on the X. Go to the pagelets. You'll now see that there's a My Links link there. I expand that, and you'll see the two links that we added. If I click on the Commitment Control Manual link, it's going to open it up in a new browser window, which is what we asked it to do. If we click on the Copy Journals link, it's going to open up in this workspace. And that brings up the Copy Journals page where you can add a new value or find an existing value. If you decide you want to remove your personalization, you can do that by clicking on the Personalize button under that icon in the upper right corner. And there's a button here that says Delete Personalization. The only issue with this is if you click that, it deletes all your personalization. You can't pick and choose what parts to get rid of. So we're not going to do that. And that's how you can update and add links to your links pagelet. You look at queries by clicking on the Reports and Queries tab in the top there. Click on the pagelet settings icon again. Click on Personalize. We'll see if this is a little bit different. There are already two groups here. I'm going to add a query group again because it won't let me update the two that are already there. I'm just going to call it My Queries. We're going to give it a display order of 3 so it shows up last. We're going to start the group collapsed again. And you notice in this case there's no link over here. All you need to do is look up the query that you want. Now I'm just going to pick one just to add one. Say the VT expenditure detail query. I click on that, it brings it up here, and I can override the title and description if I want to, as it did there, and then I'm all done. Just going to hit save. It brings up that same message to refresh the page to see your changes. Click OK. I'm going to close it up in the upper right corner again. Click the refresh button. You'll see down here that we have a menu item called My Queries. We'll expand it, and you'll see the expenditure detail query, and that brings up the query criteria page where you can run the query itself. You'll note that in this version, in this example, you can't choose to run it to Excel. This will run to HTML, but once you run the report, you'll be able to dump it out to Excel if you want to. In the reports and processes pagelet, it's the same thing. Click on the pagelet settings icon, personalize. In this case, again, we have 5 links groups, but I'm going to start another one. So I'll click up here. We'll call it My Reports. I'm going to give it a display order of 6. And start the group collapsed. Here you have the define link back again. Click on that. I'm going to look at the menu items, bring up that same menu that we saw in the links pagelet. I'm going to click on General Ledger, General Reports, and I'm just going to add the Ledger Activity Report to show you this works. And it brings you back to the define link window. I can override the label if I want to. I won't because it's pretty descriptive. Click OK. I now see that it's here on the page. I'm going to set it a display order of 1 using the 10 again. Hit save. Hit OK. Close the box in the upper right corner. You'll see we now have a link to my reports. Down caret, click on Ledger Activity, and the report window opens where you would have to set up a run control ID and run a report just like you do today. So that's an overview of the WorkCenter, WorkCenters in Vision 9.2. It's a really great feature. I think you're going to find it's very useful, and it's the way we recommend that you use to primarily navigate throughout Vision 9.2. This concludes the WorkCenter overview webinar.